I touched her, in front of everyone, in the center of the courtyard where the entire school could see. Skin to silk, my bare hand wrapped around her gloved wrist, pulling her away from the girls who were threatening to do the same thing. I touched the girl they called untouchable, the girl whose skin could kill her, the girl who should have collapsed, gasping, reaching for the EpiPen everyone knew she carried. She didn't. She just stared at my hand on her wrist like I'd done something far more dangerous than saving her life, like I'd done something that could destroy us both. What are you hiding, Dahlia Ashford? And why does everyone seem to know except me?
It happened 3 weeks into my scholarship at Aurelia International Academy. I was crossing the main courtyard, late for my economics seminar, carrying too many books, mentally rehearsing the paper I hadn't quite finished, when I heard the laughter. Not the easy kind, the other kind. The kind with edges. A crowd had formed near the fountain, maybe 20 students, forming a loose circle around something I couldn't see yet. The particular body language of spectators who knew something cruel was happening and hadn't decided yet whether to intervene or enjoy it. I should have kept walking. I had a morality clause in my scholarship contract. No involvement in student disciplinary matters or family disputes. I'd read it 17 times. I was here for one reason: to build a future that would justify every sacrifice my mother had made working 3 jobs to keep us afloat. I changed directions toward the crowd instead. Some instincts are older than self-preservation. I pushed through the outer ring of students, past whispers that felt like static, until I reached the center. She was backed against the fountain's marble edge, silver blonde hair catching the afternoon sun, pale skin, high cheekbones, a face that would have been beautiful if it wasn't currently fighting to maintain composure while terror bled through at the edges. She wore white silk gloves that extended to her elbows, pristine, perfectly fitted, completely at odds with the violence of the moment. 3 girls had her cornered. I recognized the leader immediately. Irene Kwan, old money, 3rd generation, the kind of cruel that came with breeding. She was standing closest, her hand hovering 6 inches from the silver blonde girl's face. Not touching, just hovering. A threat made of proximity. "What's wrong, Ashford?" Irene's voice was light, conversational. "You look pale, more than usual, I mean." The other 2 girls laughed. One of them moved closer, her hand reaching toward the silver blonde girl's arm. "Don't." The silver blonde girl's voice was steady, but her gray eyes weren't. They were tracking every hand, every movement, calculating distances with the precision of someone who'd had years of practice. "Please don't." "Don't what?" Irene smiled. "We're just being friendly, unless..." She moved her hand closer to the girl's shoulder, close enough that they'd touch if the girl breathed too deeply. "You're still pretending you're too special to be touched." The crowd around them was silent, waiting. That's when I understood. They weren't just threatening her. They were threatening to touch her specifically. Like touch was a weapon. Like contact was violence. I didn't understand why. I didn't understand any of it. But I understood a girl backed against marble with nowhere to go and fear in her eyes. "Hey," I pushed through the inner ring. "Back off." Irene turned slowly, looked at me with the particular dismissal of someone who'd never been told no. "This doesn't concern you, scholarship girl. It concerns me now." I stepped between them and the girl against the fountain. "Whatever this is, it's over." "You don't even know what you're interrupting," one of the other girls said, almost amused. "I know bullying when I see it." I looked at Irene directly. 3-on-1, very impressive. Your parents must be so proud. Something cold moved through Irene's expression. "You really don't know who she is, do you?" "I don't care who she is." "You should." Irene's smile returned, sharper now. "Go ahead. Help her. Touch her." She said it like a challenge, like a dare. "See what happens." I looked back at the girl against the fountain. She was staring at me with those gray eyes, wide and unguarded, and full of something I didn't have vocabulary for yet. Something that looked like warning and hope wearing the same face. "Don't," she said quietly. "Please. You don't understand." "You're right," I said. "I don't. But I know when someone needs help." I reached for her. My hand closed around her gloved wrist, firm, pulling her away from the marble edge, away from Irene's hovering threat. I felt the silk against my palm, felt the warmth of her beneath it, felt the slight tremor running through her arm. The courtyard went completely, utterly silent. I pulled her 2 steps away from the fountain before I realized everyone was staring. Not at me, at her, waiting for something. Anticipating something with the specific tension of people watching a bomb they know is about to detonate. 5 seconds passed. 10. The girl was staring at my hand on her wrist. Just staring at it. Her gray eyes wide, her lips slightly parted, her entire body frozen in a stillness that had nothing to do with composure and everything to do with shock. But she wasn't gasping, wasn't reaching for anything in her bag. I wasn't showing any signs of distress, beyond the fact that she looked like I'd just done something that violated the fundamental laws of physics. What? Irene's voice was barely above a whisper. Disbelief cracking through the cruelty. That's not... I looked at my own hand, at the white silk beneath my fingers, at the girl whose wrist I was holding. Are you okay? I asked. She blinked, once, twice, like she was surfacing from deep water. Her voice came out fractured, confused. Yes, She looked at my hand again, then at my face. You touched me. I know. I'm sorry. You touched me. She repeated, louder now. Something enormous moving beneath the words. And She pulled away, not violently, carefully, but away. And then she ran, straight through the crowd, which parted for her like she was radioactive, across the courtyard, disappearing through the archway toward the east wing. I stood there with my hands still suspended in the air, where her wrist had been, the entire courtyard staring at me with expressions ranging from shock to horror to something that looked almost like fear. What just happened? I asked. Nobody answered. Irene was backing away, actually backing away. The other 2 girls with her looked like they'd just witnessed something that broke the fundamental rules they'd built their understanding of the world on. You shouldn't have done that, someone in the crowd said. Done what? I turned, looking for the source. Helped someone? You don't understand. A girl I vaguely recognized from my dorm floor. Dahlia Ashford has severe contact dermatitis. Human touch causes anaphylaxis. Everyone knows that. Her family has medical protocols on file with the school. If someone touches her skin... She gestured vaguely at the space the silver blonde girl had occupied. She goes into shock within minutes. I looked at my hand, at the hand that had just held her wrist, for 10 full seconds. But she didn't, I said slowly. The crowd was dispersing now, quickly. Conversations starting in hushed, urgent tones, phones coming out, the particular energy of something that would be all over the school's social channels within the hour. I stood alone in the courtyard with the autumn sun overhead and my economics books scattered on the ground where I dropped them, and the specific, creeping certainty that I had just stepped into something far larger and more dangerous than a simple bullying intervention. Dahlia Ashford, the name everyone whispered about, the ghost of Aurelia Academy, the heiress to one of the largest fortunes in the world who lived alone in the East Wing and attended classes remotely, and whose medical condition was so severe that human touch could kill her. Except, I touched her, and she was fine. Or, not fine, not even close to fine, but not in anaphylactic shock, not gasping for air, not dying, just staring at my hand on her wrist like I'd done something impossible. You touched me. The way she'd said it, not with pain, with disbelief. Like I'd just proven something she'd been told her entire life was a lie. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. Unknown number. You need to stay away from her. The courtyard suddenly felt colder. My phone buzzed again. That touch you just witnessed? It shouldn't have been possible. And the fact that it was means you're both in danger. I looked at the archway where Dahlia Ashford had disappeared. Then at my hand. Then at the message on my screen. 3 things that didn't fit together. 3 things that were forming a shape I couldn't name yet, but could feel in my chest like a warning. I had come to Aurelia to build a future. Instead, I just touched a girl who couldn't be touched. And somehow, impossibly, dangerously, I'd survived it. The question wasn't why. The question was what happens now. By dinner, the entire school knew. I heard it in fragments as I walked through the dining hall. Whispered conversations that stopped when I passed. Eyes that tracked me with the specific attention reserved for people who've done something that breaks the established order. Touched her bare hand to, no reaction at all, I saw it. Ashford actually ran. Did you see? I got my tray and sat alone. Not my usual corner. That felt too exposed now. A table near the back wall where I could watch the room and not be watched in return. Soo-yeon. My roommate found me anyway. She slid into the seat across from me with her tray and her no-nonsense expression and didn't say anything for a full 30 seconds while she organized her food with the particular precision she used when she was thinking. So, she finally said, "You touched the untouchable heiress in front of half the school." "I helped someone who was being cornered," I said. "Maya." She looked at me with the specific expression that meant she was about to say something I wouldn't want to hear. "Do you understand what you did?" "Apparently not," I said. "Since everyone keeps acting like I committed some kind of..." "Dahlia Ashford's medical condition is the worst kept secret at Aurelia," Soo-yeon interrupted. "Her family has had protocols in place since she enrolled. Medical-grade gloves at all times. No direct skin contact with anyone. Her condition is so severe that even contact through certain fabrics can trigger reactions." She paused. "Last year, someone accidentally bumped into her during a fire drill. She had to be hospitalized." I sat with that information. But I touched her," I said slowly. "And she was fine. Yes." Soo-yeon leaned forward. "And that's why everyone is talking. Because according to everything we've been told about Dahlia Ashford, what you did should have been impossible. It shouldn't have been possible." The text message from the unknown number echoed in my head. "There's something else," Soo-yeon said quietly. "People are saying you shouldn't have intervened, that the Ashford family is complicated. That getting involved with Dahlia means getting involved with things that are..." She searched for the word, "above our pay grade." "She was being bullied." "I know." Soo-yeon's expression softened. "And what you did was brave. I'm just saying, be careful. Wealth like that comes with complications we can't see from where we're standing." She left me with that warning. I sat in the dining hall, picking at food I couldn't taste, watching students who wouldn't quite look at me directly, thinking about gray eyes and white silk gloves, and the way Dahlia Ashford had said, "You touched me." Like I'd done something that terrified her more than any allergic reaction ever could. I had homework, I had a paper due, I had 17 good reasons to go back to my dorm room and pretend the afternoon had never happened. I went looking for her instead. The East Wing was off limits to regular students. I went anyway. The architecture changed as I walked, the public grandeur giving way to something quieter, more private, fewer students. Eventually, no students. Just empty corridors with tall windows and the specific silence of spaces that weren't meant to be accessed. I found her door on the 3rd floor. A single nameplate. D. Ashford. I knocked. Silence. I knocked again. "Go away." Her voice through the door, steady but tight. The voice of someone who'd been crying and had managed to stop, but hadn't managed to erase the evidence yet. "It's Maya," I said. "Maya Chen, from I know who you are." A pause. "You need to leave. I need to know you're okay." "I'm fine." "You're not?" I leaned against the doorframe, kept my voice gentle. "You ran. In front of everyone. That's not fine." Another silence. Longer. "Why did you do that?" she asked finally. Quiet enough that I had to strain to hear through the wood. "In the courtyard. Why did you intervene?" "Because you needed help. You don't even know me." "I don't need to know you to see when someone's in trouble." "Everyone else saw," she said. "They all watched, and they all knew better than to touch me." "Maybe that's the problem," I said. A long, suspended silence. And then the door opened. "Comment below. Would you have intervened?" or walked away. She was still wearing the white gloves. Her gray eyes were red-rimmed but dry. Her silver blonde hair was slightly disheveled, like she'd been running her gloved hands through it repeatedly. She stood in the doorway like she was guarding something, her body language defensive and exhausted all at once. Behind her, I caught a glimpse of her space. Not a dorm room, an entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Minimalist furniture. Books everywhere. It looked like a beautiful cage. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "I'm getting that a lot today." "I'm serious." She glanced down the hallway, checking if anyone had seen me, I realized. "If someone sees you, why didn't you react?" I asked quietly. She went very still. "When I touched your wrist," I continued, "everyone was waiting for you to collapse, to go into shock. But you didn't." I held her gaze. "Why?" "The gloves," she started, "are medical grade. I heard. I also heard that even contact through them can trigger reactions." I took a careful breath. "So why didn't it?" She looked at me for a long time, and I watched something move through her expression, layers of calculation, fear, something that looked almost like grief. "I don't know," she said finally. "Dahlia." "I don't know," she repeated, firmer now. "I felt your hand on my wrist. I felt the warmth of it. I waited for the pain to start." Her voice cracked slightly. It didn't, and I don't know why. The truth of those words sat between us. "Has that ever happened before?" I asked. "No." Immediate. Certain. "Never." We stood in her doorway with the afternoon light changing quality around us and a truth neither of us had vocabulary for yet. "I should go," I said finally. "But," I paused, "if you need someone to talk to, someone who isn't going to treat you like you're made of glass or spread gossip or..." I stopped. Started again. "I'm in the West Wing. 3rd floor, room 304, Soo-yeon and Ji-woo and I." Something moved across her face. Almost gratitude, almost hope. "Why are you being kind to me?" she asked. "Why wouldn't I be?" "Because everyone else has a reason not to be." The casual devastation of that sentence landed between us. "Well," I said quietly, "maybe I'm not everyone else." She looked at me with those gray eyes, unguarded now, searching, like she was trying to decide if she could trust what she was seeing. "Maya Chen," she said, like she was testing my name in her mouth. "Dahlia Ashford," I replied, a small smile, fragile, real. "Thank you," she said, "for today, even if you didn't understand what you were doing." "I understood enough." She nodded, started to close the door, and then stopped. "Maya? Yeah? Be careful. The people here..." She paused. "They're not kind to people who get close to me. They think..." She stopped again, recalibrating. "They think proximity to me is dangerous." "Maybe it is," I said, "but some things are worth the danger." I left before she could respond. But as I walked back through the empty corridor toward the public wing, I felt it. The specific pressure of being watched. The hair-raising certainty that someone, somewhere, was tracking my movements. I turned. The corridor behind me was empty, but my phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number. Again. "You've been warned twice now. There won't be a third warning. Stay away from Dahlia Ashford, or you'll discover exactly why everyone else does." The corridor felt colder suddenly. I looked at my hand, the one that had touched her wrist. The one that, according to everything I'd been told, should have triggered a medical emergency. The one that had felt nothing but warmth and silk and the slight tremor of a girl who'd been terrified and brave all at once. Some things are worth the danger, I'd said. I was starting to understand exactly how much danger that might actually be. I didn't see Dahlia for 3 days. Not in the dining hall, not in the corridors, not anywhere in the public-facing parts of Aurelia's sprawling campus. She'd vanished back into whatever isolation she'd lived in before the courtyard incident. And this time, it looked deliberate. The whispers, meanwhile, had evolved. They'd moved from shock to speculation to something that felt more dangerous. Theories about what had happened. Claims that I must have touched her through multiple layers of fabric. Suggestions that maybe her condition wasn't as severe as everyone thought. Arguments that maybe she'd been faking the whole time for attention or sympathy or some unknowable Ashford family strategy. I heard Irene Kwan in the bathroom between classes. The scholarship girl probably doesn't even realize what she exposed. But someone should be grateful. Now we know the untouchable heiress isn't so untouchable after all. The cruelty of it turned my stomach. On the fourth day, I went to the library, not the main reading room where students studied in performative clusters. The restricted archives, the maze-like section in the back where journals older than some countries lived in quiet darkness. My scholarship privileges gave me access. The silence gave me peace. I was 3 aisles deep into 19th century economic theory when I heard it. That same sound from weeks ago. Small, controlled. The particular caught breath of someone crying while trying very hard not to be caught. I followed it. She was in the same window alcove. Same afternoon light, same positioning, back to the entrance, facing the rose gardens. But this time, she wasn't surprised when she heard me coming. "You're persistent," she said without turning. "I'm concerned." Those aren't the same thing. Sometimes they are. I came to stand at the edge of the alcove, not entering her space, just close enough to talk. "Can I sit?" She nodded. I sat across from her in the way I'd learned, maintaining 3 feet of distance, respecting the careful choreography she'd built her life around. "I heard what they're saying," she said quietly, still looking at the gardens. "About the courtyard. About me. People are idiots. People are scared," she corrected. I spent years being something they could define. The girl who couldn't be touched. The ghost. The tragic heiress. It was uncomfortable for them, but it was categorizable. She finally looked at me. "You made me uncategorizable, and they don't know what to do with that." I sat with the weight of that statement. "I'm sorry," I said. "Don't be." She shook her head. "You didn't do anything wrong. She paused. "You helped me. In that courtyard. You stepped between me and them without understanding what you were stepping into. That's..." Her voice caught slightly. "No one's done that for me in a very long time." "Why were they threatening you like that?" I asked. Irene and her group. What was that about? Dahlia's hands pressed together in her lap. Irene's family and mine have history. Business tensions that go back before I was born. She's made a hobby out of making my life difficult since freshman year. She paused. The touch thing is her favorite threat. She knows I'm afraid of it. She knows I've spent my entire life avoiding any possibility of contact. Or so she uses proximity as a weapon. The casual cruelty of that settled into me like cold. "That's sadistic," I said. "That's Aurelia." She looked at me directly. "You said you're on scholarship." "Yes." "Full scholarship?" "Yes." "Then you know what it's like," she said quietly. "To be here, but not of here. To be tolerated, but not welcomed. To have people look at you like you're a category instead of a person," I finished. Something passed between us. Recognition. The specific understanding of 2 people who'd spent their lives being defined by things beyond their control. Her by her family name and her condition. Me by the absence of both. "Can I ask you something?" I said carefully. "You're going to anyway. What actually happens when someone touches you? Medically, specifically?" She was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was clinical, rehearsed in the way of someone who'd explained this too many times. Contact dermatitis. Severe form. Direct skin-to-skin contact causes histamine release, rapid inflammation, airway constriction. Anaphylaxis. Within 5 minutes without intervention. She recited it like a script. I carry epinephrine at all times. The school nurse has emergency protocols. I've been hospitalized 4 times since enrolling. And the gloves? Medical-grade barrier protection, specifically designed to prevent protein exchange between my skin and external contact. She held up her hands, the white silk catching the amber light. They're the only thing between me and constant medical crisis. I looked at those gloves, at the white silk, at her gray eyes watching me watch them. "But I touched you," I said, "through those gloves, and nothing happened." "I know." "Has that ever happened before?" "You asked me that already." "You didn't really answer." She looked at me for a long time. and I watched something enormous move beneath her expression. Something she was fighting very hard to keep contained. "No," she said finally. "It's never happened before. In 20 years of this condition, no one has ever touched me without me having a reaction." She paused. "Except you." The words hung between us in the dust-mote silence. "Why?" I asked. "I don't know." "Dahlia, I don't know," she repeated. Louder now. Frustrated. "Do you think I haven't been asking myself that question every single moment since it happened? Do you think I haven't been terrified of what it might mean?" She stood abruptly, moved to the window, pressed her gloved hands against the glass. "Everyone in my life has told me the same story since I was 7 years old," she said. Quiet now, controlled. "That my skin is dangerous, that human touch could kill me, that I need to be careful, protected, isolated for my own safety." She turned. "And then you touched me, and I was fine. And now, I don't know," her voice cracked. "I don't know if the story I've been told about myself is true." The silence after that was enormous. I stood slowly, moved closer, not into her space, but to the edge of it. "Then maybe," I said carefully, "we should figure out what the true story is." She looked at me with those gray eyes, wide and unguarded and full of something that looked like hope and terror wearing the same face. "That could be dangerous," she said. "For who?" "For both of us." I thought about the text messages, about Soo-yeon's warning, about my scholarship contract and the morality clause and the 17 good reasons I had to walk away. "Some things are worth the danger," I said. She almost smiled. "You said that before." I meant it. A pause that felt like a decision being made. "Okay," she said quietly. "Okay? Okay." She took a breath. "But if we're going to do this, if we're going to question everything I've been told about myself, we have to be careful. My family..." She stopped. "My father specifically. He doesn't..." Another pause. "He has very particular ideas about what my life should look like. And those ideas don't include questioning your medical condition," I said. "Those ideas don't include questioning anything." She looked back at the gardens. "There's a gala, 3 weeks, the Aurelia prom night. I really want to attend in person this year." She paused. "Would you come with me?" I thought about borrowed dresses and loan programs and the vast, impossible distance between my world and hers. "Yes," I said. She turned, looked at me with something that might have been gratitude and might have been something more complicated. "Thank you, Maya," she said quietly. And this time, when she said my name, it sounded like something she was allowing herself. Carefully, with both hands. I was halfway down the corridor when I heard footsteps running behind me. Fast, desperate. I turned. Dahlia was there, out of breath, silver blonde hair disheveled, white gloves still on, but her composure completely shattered. "Maya, wait." She caught up to me, gasping. "Please, there's something I need to know." "Okay," I said carefully. She looked around. The corridor was empty, evening light dying through the tall windows, casting long shadows. She looked back at me, and then slowly, like someone making a decision that terrified her, she started pulling at the fingers of her right glove. My heart stopped. "What are you doing?" "Testing something." Her voice was shaking. "I need to know if what happened in the courtyard was real. If it was just the gloves being thick enough, or if..." She peeled the glove down, halfway, then completely off, her bare hand, pale skin, delicate fingers, trembling. She held it out between us. "Dahlia, your condition, if it's real, we'll know in 60 seconds." Her gray eyes found mine, desperate, terrified. "And if it's not," her voice cracked, "if it's not, then everything I've been told about myself for 20 years is a lie. And I need to know which one is true." The corridor was silent. Just us. Just this impossible moment. "Please, Maya," she whispered. "Touch me." I stared at her bare hand, at the impossible thing she was asking. Every warning I'd ever heard echoed in my head. Contact dermatitis. Severe form. Anaphylaxis within 5 minutes. Last year, someone bumped into her during a fire drill. She had to be hospitalized. You have no idea what you're getting into. But I also heard her voice. No one asked me if I'm okay. No one asked me what I want. I reached out, slowly, giving her time to change her mind. She didn't pull away. My fingers touched hers, skin to skin. The contact was... Dahlia gasped, a sharp, sudden intake of breath. Her gray eyes went wide, and then her entire body went rigid. Dahlia! Her hand clenched around mine, tight, convulsive. She made a sound, low, choked. Dahlia. I tried to pull my hand back, but her grip was iron. Dahlia, what's happening? Her eyes locked on mine, and they were different, pupils blown wide, something moving beneath the gray that looked almost like light. She gasped. I can feel... Her words cut off. Her body shuddered once, twice, and then she collapsed forward into my arms. Dahlia, her full weight against me, completely unconscious. My hand was still locked in hers. She hadn't let go even when she passed out. I looked down at her face. Pale. Too pale. Her lips were turning blue. Oh God. Oh God, oh God, oh God. I touched her and now she's... No. No. I couldn't call for help, couldn't let anyone see this. If the school found out I'd touched her, if her father found out, my scholarship, her safety, everything. I looked around frantically. The corridor was still empty, but it wouldn't stay that way. Classes would let out in 10 minutes. The hallways would flood with students. I had to move. Now? I tried to pry my hand free. Her grip was locked. Even unconscious, she was holding on. Dahlia, please, I whispered. Please let go. Please. Her fingers loosened slightly. I pulled free, and immediately scooped her up, one arm under her knees, one behind her back. She was lighter than I expected, or adrenaline made her feel that way. I started moving, down the corridor, away from the main hallways, toward the east wing, toward her room where no one would look. Don't let anyone see. Don't let anyone see. Don't let anyone... I rounded a corner and froze. Someone was standing at the end of the hallway. Irina Kwan. She was just standing there, watching. That beautiful, weaponized smile already forming on her face. We locked eyes. For 3 seconds, that felt like hours. Then she pulled out her phone, pointed it at us. Click. The camera sound echoed down the empty corridor. No, I started. But she was already walking away. Slowly. Deliberately. Not running. Not shouting for help. Just leaving. With a photograph of me carrying Dahlia Ashford's unconscious body. And that smile. That knowing, victorious smile. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Part 2 drops next, because this is just the beginning. Dahlia is unconscious. Irene has proof. Some touches save you. Some touches destroy you. Maya Chen is about to find out which one this was. Thank you for watching.